Now we're getting so much closer to the State of the City address. First, I'd like to say a few things about Dr. Michael Chang, our mayor. Mayor Chang is currently serving his second term on the Cupertino City Council. He was first elected in 1995 with the highest number of votes and served as mayor from 97 to 98. Prior to City Council, he served as a school board trustee and president of the Cupertino Union School District from 1991 to 1995. Dr. Chang is also a department chairman and faculty member of De Anza College, where he teaches intercultural communication and Asian American studies. In 1998, he established the Silicon Valley Asian Pacific American Leadership Institute at De Anza to offer college students and high school seniors a leadership program each summer. Mayor Chang's accomplishments in public service include the opening of an alternative school with a science and technology focus, reestablishing Leadership Cupertino, working on Cupertino City's leadership role in building a multicultural community, and the building of our new $22 million city library. Dr. Chang has received numerous awards and recognition from groups ranging from Rotary Club to the Asian American Manufacturers Association. He was invited to join the committee of 100 in 1998 and honored as a Stanford APA alumni for the year in 2001. He was recently selected to be a fellow of the American Leadership Forum 2002 and 2003 class. His work has also been profiled in a number of newspapers, journals, and books. Dr. Chang completed his graduate education at Stanford University in 1988, earning degrees in political science, master's, Asian studies, master's, and education, PhD. He also earned undergraduate degrees in business management as well as philosophy and religion. A local area resident for over 20 years, Dr. Chang lives in Cupertino with his wife Barbara and children Jonathan and Jacqueline. It's with great pleasure that I introduce to you Mayor Dr. Michael Chang.
Thanks, Mark, for the very kind introduction. Can we give another round of applause for Battalion Chief Bob Smith and Deputy Kim Morgan-Taylor, and thank our police department and our sheriff department for the fine work that they are doing. Really deserve a lot. State Assembly Member Joe Smidian, County Supervisor Liz Nis, Sheriff Laurie Smith, County Fire Chief Ben Lopes, Fremont Union High School District President Catherine Ho, Board of Trustees and Associate Superintendent, Cupertino Union School District President Ben Liao, Board of Trustees and Superintendent, De Anza College President, my City Council colleagues, Cupertino City Commissioners, former State Assembly Member Ted Lempert, former mayors of Cupertino, community organizations, Cupertino commissioners, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for taking the time to join me in this State of Cupertino event this afternoon. I want to start with a few rounds of thank yous. First of all, I think a lot of credit goes to our organizations that organized this event this afternoon, the Cupertino Chamber of Commerce and the Cupertino Rotarians. Can we give them a round of applause? Can President Mark Burns and President Eleanor Watanabe please stand? Thank them for their leadership. I want to thank Scout Troop 476 for our flag ceremony. And I thought that if they did well, I would particularly mention it because my son is in that scout troop, and I thought he did really well. And they're based at St. Joseph Church. My council colleagues, I want to salute them. I want to thank them for their support. Sandy James, would you please stand? Patrick Kwok, Richard Lowenthal, Dolly Sandoval, each of us bring different skills and competencies to the council. We're a very united council. We're a council that works together. It is a real pleasure to be a part of this council, even though I may be speaking today, but I am in many ways the mouthpiece of our camp council, and they are behind me doing a lot of the work, and it's a collective effort coming up with the ideas and the initiatives and that we have for our city. So my salute to the council members. I want to also salute and mention our city manager, David Knapp. Where are you? And his team of directors. David Knapp, we're very glad that he's in our city. It was a great steal from Los Gatos. We did it well. He has been really absolutely excellent. A city council can only be that good if there isn't a CEO and executive staff that could implement the vision for our city. And David, his style is just great. Many of us have worked with him. No nonsense, get the work done, focus on improvement, focus on being creative, focus on solutions, focus on developing a culture to serve our community, to serve our residents. My hat's off to you, David. Also, I want to thank some people that are behind the scenes in helping for today, in particular the City Channel, Pete and Ray. I would call them poor Pete and poor Ray, especially poor Ray. They've been really working hard to help with some visuals so as to make the presentation easier to understand and hopefully more useful to our audience today. So thank you very much. I would be remiss if I do not mention the people that are most important in my life, which are my family. I'm so glad that they can be here today. I'm so glad that I, like many other people, can say that I have the best wife and the best kids on earth. So Barbara Chang, Jonathan, and Jacqueline, could you all stand up and be recognized? As I serve my 8th year on Cupertino City Council and 2nd term as mayor, it is an honor and a pleasure to deliver my State of the City speech to you. My focus will be to report on significant city achievements and suggested initiatives for this year, with an emphasis on service improvements and partnerships with various governmental and community organizations assembled here. My report will be organized into 8 parts as follows. These are the same 8 parts that I spoke about 4 years ago in my State of the City speech, and I think you can see them up there. I think we're going counterclockwise here, starting with strong fiscal management, investment in public infrastructure, being a responsive government, improving our communication always, fostering community, supporting economic development in our city, working on public safety, and to show and demonstrate our commitment to the young people of our community. So it will be organized into these 8 parts. I hope my report will reveal some of the values that drive our city organization and our city council's direction for the city. I know that your time is very precious, and I will attempt to cover a lot of ground quickly, but I hope that you will indulge me in elaborating on some significant initiatives and my asking of your support for those initiatives on behalf of the city. To begin with, I want to share with you what I think Cupertino is about. So let me ask you that question. What is Cupertino about? And these are my answers. I'm going to choose 3. The first one, it's about award-winning educational institutions, whether it be the elementary school district, the high school district, De Anza College. If you ask our residents, many people will say that they moved into Cupertino because of the excellent education that we have here. And we're truly blessed to have these educational institutions here. The second thing is that we have a community that is diverse and energetic and participative. And I want to share with you some update on some background data about Cupertino. First one is a chart on our population, which is 50,000 people, and their age breakdown based on the 2000 census data. As you can see, we have a large group of young people going to schools here, about 30%. We have a large young adult population, about 36%. and another big group of 45 to 65, I guess I belong to that group now, that are here. So together, lots of working, two-family working families here in Cupertino, and of course a very significant proportion of retired seniors also in our community. These kinds of demographics help us to fine-tune and target our services to different segments of the community. The next chart is on our ethnicity. This is our ethnic breakdown. On the year 2000, we know that the Asian American population has been growing quite rapidly here in the last 15 years or so. Our Caucasian population is about 46%. Asian population is about 44%. And then we have 4% Hispanic and others another 5%. What you might be interested in is a breakdown of our Asian American population, and I've requested for that. It's not surprising, many of us know that there's a sizable Chinese American population here, making up about a quarter of the population. But what I'd like to report to you is that we have seen a very significant increase in our Indian American population, and that is now almost 9% now, as well as our long-timer Japanese American community, as well as other Asian groups that are increasingly coming to our cities and in our schools. I want to report that, as you could see today, that our Asian American community have been very involved in many parts of our civic and community structure. Next, please. This is the length of residence, showing how long people have been here, and again, helping us to focus on our services. We need to do a lot of service for newcomers. People who have been here under 3 years actually make up over 30% of our population. These people usually come to Cupertino with an idea that Cupertino has great schools, and so we need to socialize them and include them into our culture that we have developed here in Cupertino. And so we target them to know our services and to be a participating member of our community. And then the 4 to 15 years cohort that has been living here, these are what I call the, if these are the newcomers, these are the medium timers, right, that have been here and lived here for about 15 years, and that's 38% of our community. And then if you're 16 years or more, you qualify to be an old-timer in our community, a long-timer in our community, and that makes up about 30% of our community. A very vibrant community with different cohorts of people that have lived here. Finally, I want to say that from the point of our city, Cupertino is a well-managed city addressing the diverse needs of our population. There are many, many different needs, and I will illustrate just a few. We have needs for our seniors, an increasing population in Cupertino. We have needs such as for communication, for our residents to have a way to communicate with the city, to bring their idea and talents to the city. We have a need for roads that works, and we do have very nice roads. This is not a typical representation of Cupertino roads, but and we really do very well with our public works here. And of course, we need to address the needs of our young people. Very important focus in bringing up young people in our community. And of course, our business community, must not forget them. They are very important to Cupertino because of the services they offer to local residents, and also for the sales tax that they bring in to fund city services. So they are absolutely crucial in our community. So I will go ahead and begin to go through those 8 sections with you. The first one I want to talk about would be strong fiscal management. Well, this is something that we need right now all over the state. Excuse me. Oh, I missed. The City Channel has very kindly put together a video montage of Cupertino. So this will take a couple of minutes and hope you enjoy it. Like that. An area that is of great concern to all of us here is the economy that we have right now and state budget shortfall that we are experiencing. And so this first part, I want to talk about our fiscal management in the city. I want to give you a little bit of confidence and show you this slide, which is that our city has been getting awards under Carol Atwood. Our city have been given awards almost annually now, and including this year, both for excellence in budgeting as well as financial reporting from the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States. Let's go into some details, show you a few charts. First one, this is our operating revenue and expenditure. As you can see, the green will be our revenue in actual dollars over the different years. Unfortunately, the revenue has been coming down because of the economic recession in the last couple of years. We used to have a much bigger gap between our revenues and expenditures, and hence we were able to put money away in our reserves for bad times. This difference between revenue and expenditure, as you could see, has been, the gap has been closing. And so what has caused that? I'll show you in the next slide. A lot of it has to do with our sales tax revenue. Our sales tax revenue reached a high of In 2001, $11 million, but has since come down. Next slide, please. So what this means is that it will have an effect on our revenue and what we can spend. Last year, we cut about $800,000 in anticipation of less receipts due to the economic recession. This year, we expect to cut $1 million. And this chart is actually interesting because it shows in purple the amount that has decreased due to the recession and the amount that will decrease probably due to the state impact, the deficit from the state. So we'll be being decreased by about $2 million. And on the city side, what we'll do is take a $1 million cut in our expenditures to tie us over this year. The good news is that we should be able to keep our workforce intact. Next year, Next year, we expect a bigger hit. The deficit is going to be $3 million. The amount of shortfall, I should say, will be $3 million. And we will be taking that $3 million out. The current plan is to take that $1 million out of our operating expenditures, to reduce that by $1 million, to reduce our capital project by $1 million, and to take $1 million from our reserve, which we have saved up money for this kind of situation to put in. So next chart is actually on our reserves. And as you could see, we used to have a very big reserve, and that was planned that way. Here the reserve is shown in 3 components. The first component is a capital project reserve. We had been saving money in our little bank so that we could fund our capital projects, in particular the library and the civic plaza. And then the yellow is our economic uncertainty. We know good times doesn't last forever, and so we were trying to be proactive in having that kind of reserve. And then the red portion is our disaster preparedness. The council has identified a portion for just in case we have a big one, which we know we would actually. So as you could see, because we are spending now on our library project, our capital project reserve has gone down quite significantly, and that was as planned. The economic uncertainty reserve is going to go down, and we're going to use that money for the purpose that it was earmarked for. Our disaster preparedness reserve remains stable. Next, a little bit of good news here is that with the decrease in interest rates, the city was able to go out and get more debt to fund our library. However, the total amount that we have to pay for the debt is actually lower because we refinanced our debt. It's pretty much the same way as when we refinanced our house, right? So we refinanced our loan, and before we were paying $4.9 million annually in debt, and now we're paying $3.5 million after the addition of the library. So that is a very important and crucial element of our financial picture. As we can see, these are challenging times, not only for our city, but for our school districts, for our fire department, for our sheriff department. And I think that these are the times where the community come together and support each other and help each other through these times. Next area I want to talk about, which is, I think, has a little bit of more upbeat note here, which is that our investment in public infrastructure. Cupertino is very, very fortunate. Sitting in this room, we should all count our blessings, because when the time that was good, we were able to think ahead and think of some really important projects that would make a real difference for Cupertino for many years to come. And these projects are coming to a fruition right as we speak, a number of them. and I want to mention them. The most important one and the biggest for Cupertino would be our library, civic plaza, and community hall. We're just so glad we were able to put away money to continue to make this happen. As we speak, earlier this month, many of us here have joined me in the library groundbreaking ceremony. As we speak, the old Cupertino Library, which was the most heavily used public building in this city, is being torn down and rebuilt from the ground up. The reason we are building a new Cupertino Library is because the old library was too overcrowded and service level was suffering due to overwhelming demand. The Cupertino Library has the highest circulation of any library in Santa Clara County. The statistics is simply amazing. In a city of 50,000 people, an amazing 2 million items were checked out in 2002. What does that mean? It means that for every hour that the city library is opened, an average of 624 items were checked out each hour. Imagine that. Indeed, both visits and circulations for our library has been increasing for over a decade. In 2002 alone, circulation increased an astonishing 21%. The new library and civic plaza at $25 million is the largest civic investment in Cupertino's history. The new Cupertino Library, designed by award-winning SMVW architects, will open in October next year. It will be a large, elegant, 54,000 square foot, two-story brick and stucco building, free of columns, featuring a light-filled interior courtyard. More importantly, this will be a state-of-the-art library for Cupertino with many service enhancements. The new library will have the capacity to hold a larger collection, more study rooms for students, which are much needed by students, and even a comfortable library cafe. In order to build this library, so let me just show you, this is our old city hall here. This is where the new library is going to be, and I think we have another shot, and that's the new community hall. A word about the community hall is that this will be the venue for a lot of civic and community meetings. So our community should think about using that well. It'll be a nice amenity. Now back to the library. This is what our library would look like. It should be quite stunning when it's done. In order to build the required 54,000 square foot library, based on an independent consultant's needs assessment study, the Library Foundation, chaired by Dorothy Stowe, needs our community to step up and help. We need to contribute $1.2 million in a capital campaign to furnish this wonderful library. A fundraising director has already been hired, and I ask you for your involvement to help form a major donors committee during the next few weeks. An appealing list of naming opportunities have already been identified to recognize major donors. I ask that our community leaders join me in this noble fundraising effort on behalf of our library, our young people, the future of our city. In a city which has nationally recognized elementary, high school, and college level education, the Cupertino Library also belongs to a county library system that is ranked #1 in the nation. Providing crucial support to the development of our youths, the new Cupertino Library will become a focus for learning and community activities. I hope you will encourage each other to step forward and pledge generously to the new Cupertino Library, which will be the community heart of Cupertino. A few other projects I want to mention and bring to your attention is the Sports Center renovation. Our sports center is undergoing a $4 million renovation, which will bring it into ADA compliance, which will increase the facilities in there. And last but not least, it will have a new teen center in this sports center. And look for that next year in May 2004. The next one is right in the center of our city. We have added a new hotel that we are also pleased about. And we have the Verona apartments that will be coming online fairly soon. And in front of that, this is a part of our city center. This will be our civic park. And this is going to be a beautiful park right in the middle of our city. We're very excited about it. It will be a place that will mark Cupertino. And as part of that, we have a sculpture there that is being planned. This is a 30-foot sculpture that if you look at it at different angles, it looks different. And hope that you like this sculpture. And that will be coming very soon. Another endeavor that we have right now is the Stevens Creek Corridor Master Plan. And this is the plan for Blackberry Farm, McLaren Ranch Park, the Stevens Creek Trail that are very important. This is a great hidden resource in our community. We recently did a survey, and although found that those places are well used by some people, a lot of our residents don't even know they exist. And so what we are doing is to have a chance to go to the community, to look at this whole area, and to develop a master plan together. And under the leadership of our Parks and Recs Director, Therese Ambrose, we have this idea of passing out design kits to our residents. And residents can take these kits and try to tell us what they think would be a good design for this. We've only let the word out, I think, about a week ago, and already we have over 100 kits being reserved. So if you haven't reserved yours, you should do it. So that's very exciting. The third area I want to talk about is something that I think David Knapp really symbolizes and exemplifies, which is responsive government. I have a chart here to show you. We've been doing this biennial survey since I think the last time I was mayor. And one of the tables in the survey is very useful. It is a satisfaction important index. And so we can tell what are our services that are particularly important to residents and how satisfied they are in that. So in this quadrant, I'd like to report that most of our services seem to be in this area of being both important and satisfying to residents. So in that quadrant, we have our police, our library, our recycling program, park and rec, street cleaning, park and picnic availability, city recreation services. In areas where are important but we need to continue to work on is this, traffic safety, something we've put a lot of effort in and will continue to do so in collaboration, especially with the schools and the sheriff department. And 14 over here, economic development efforts. Not something that it's easily controllable by the city, we wish, but we certainly will be working very hard in those areas. Another area that's quite important and satisfying are these areas such as youth sports, Quinlan Community Center, our senior citizen program, median strip maintenance. And in this area are some areas such that we will continue to improve in. A lot of our communication areas under Rick Kitson, each of these areas are being improved. Our government channel, public access channel, city website, monthly newsletter, Cooper neighborhood programs. It's tough to make our city channel. I don't know what we need to introduce, reality TV? I don't know, but we'll work at it. And those are areas that we will definitely continue. And we hear from our residents, and we want to be responsive. The next area here, the next slide has to do with some of the things that we're doing to improve communication. And these would include council meetings are now broadcasted and covered even more than before. And in fact, what we are introducing are webcasting. So our council meetings, our planning commission meetings, our park and rec meetings, if residents miss them, they can go online, catch up on it, and look at it at their own convenience. Our Cupertino scene is continually being improved. This is publications that go out to every resident, and so it's an important tool for us to get information out and also to get their feedback. And we've been moving in that direction, asking for a lot of feedback on different services and their suggestions. Third area is to offer more services online here in the city. We now have registration for community programs online, live webcasting of public events that I mentioned, online forms. You can apply for a job online with an online form here in the city. And another area that we're working on that's very important and will come online in a few weeks is an online request and complaint tracking system. We take seriously all the requests and complaints that come to our city. And so with this online capacity, it will allow us to be able to tell what we have done with each of these requests and complaints and how they have been dealt with and where they are in the process of being taken care of. And that is, I think, a major accomplishment. We have now more new city advisory commissions. This is the Bike and Pedestrian Commission that we now have. The Teen Commission, this is in their second year, very active. And we are in the formative stages of a senior commission as suggested by Councilmember Patrick Kwok. The city is continuing to improve its multilingual capacities to better serve immigrant and limited English speakers in our community. This is a forum that we had on the library, a community forum. And we had translations for that forum. It was very well attended. And we got very good feedback in that forum. And one of the things including adding more study rooms for students. I think that was really, really well verbalized in that forum. Talking about community, I want to go to talking about fostering community. In our city, that is a key activity in our community, which is to help us build community. That is very basic. It has to do with families. It has to do with people. I have maybe about 9 items here that I want to share with you. The first item is the senior center. As you know, our senior center has moved to a new location. And it has, because in part of the bigger space, been able to do a lot more programming. And one of the areas that they have really increased their programming is in non-English speaker programs. They went from about 10 programs to about 62 programs. So what's the result? Well, let's look at the next slide. Well, the membership of our senior center doubled in 1 year, right? It went from 1,300 to 2,734 in a year, and it has continued to grow. As you could see with those numbers, you know, in terms of numbers of seniors that have participated in class activities, trips and services, and so on. So they have really done well there, and I think they are real inspiration to all of us in terms of bringing service to where there's a need and answering those needs. Next one, we've mentioned about this. This is the senior center building. Next slide. Cross-Cultural Consortium. This is a group in our city that has been meeting. They're using a new format now. If you haven't tried it, you should. There's one meeting where they go to a different restaurant, ethnic restaurant. That's usually a big draw. They have a book discussion in the next meeting and a speaker for another meeting. So that's something that has been going on, well supported. Another thing is our Neighborhood Block Leaders Program. We started this program last year with 32 block leaders, and we supported 12 neighborhood parties. This is our effort to get neighbors to reasons to meet each other, maybe to emergency preparedness, maybe to neighborhood crime watch, but common issue where they can come out, time socializing with each other, and building community at the neighborhood level. One of the important Cupertino sees itself doing is to Cupertino's exciting festival calendar. And these are the actual dates for the events this year. Fun Run on April 19th. Cherry Blossom Festival on April 27th. Cupertino Day at Black Farm, May 3rd. The Summer Concert Series, June 20th, August 14th. July 4th activities are fireworks, very popular. Our Chamber's own Art and Festival, July 19th to 20th. Shakespeare in the Park, 8th to 24th. Cinema at Sundown, August 21st, September 11th. This is a new one, very popular. The Moon Festival, September 20th, huge attendance on that one. The Iranian Federated Women's Clubs Cultural and Arts Festival in September 27th, 28th. Oktoberfest, our own Rotary's Oktoberfest, October 11th and 12th. And then, of course, Christmas holiday season activities, Breakfast with Santa, December 6th, and Community Tree Lighting, December 7th. Also want to mention that this year we have our Lunar New Year Parade. Actually misses a word, important word there, which is Unity Parade. And this is a group of residents. Many of us here has been involved, the city's involved, the Chamber, Rotary, YMCA, CCS, all our different ethnic groups, very involved in this parade, initiated by immediate past mayor Richard Lowenthal and co-chaired with Michelle Hu. And we will be having this parade on the 8th. All our school districts will be participating. I understand that the elementary school have all the schools coming on this. They have own place for 50 teams, and they are already full, and there are a lot of other people asking to join. I know that it's a cross-section of our community, anything from, I think the bagpipes and are coming from Los Gatos, I think, the drum team. And so it's going to be an exciting event, and I want to salute them on bringing to our community this kind of unity event, and I hope that it will become an annual event here in Cupertino. Next is our community congress. Each year we have a community congress. I think we started with our diversity summit many years ago, and each year we've had a congress. This year I propose to have a congress on May 23rd. It's a Friday night. It's somewhat tentative that day, but that's a date we're shooting for. And my proposed theme for this year is to have a community congress talking about teen issues. And I would like to invite all the different groups to join us on this. Teen Commission, 5C, Sheriff Department, the school district, the ANZA students, service organizations, nonprofits, and other interested residents to come together and talk with the teens, listen to the teens, and think about how we could grow our teenagers even better here in Cupertino. Next up is affordable housing. We should help people to live in our community if we want them to participate in our community. And this is the long-awaited Cupertino Community Service affordable housing development, which is scheduled to be completed at the end of February. This project consists of 24 affordable rental housing units and office space for CCS staff. The city contributed $2.65 million for this $3.6 million project. Next up is economic development. Here are a few of the new sites in town. Cypress Hotel, Borland Software, which our council member Sandra James had a lot to do with bringing them to the city. Trians, which is a new management and consulting outsourcing service. They just hired 100 people. They started 1 year ago and hired 100 people, I just found out. Acorn Campus, which is a high-tech incubator consortium on Results Way. And of course, BJ's. Many of us have been to BJ's and know what a popular place that is. We want to see more of this here in Cupertino. Our council really supports sensible development. Along Stevens Creek, we have encouraged mixed-use projects, and this is an example of them, the Travina mixed-use development on the corner of Stevens Creek and Blaney. We have built-in walkability into all of our projects, and that is a very important element in all our projects that are coming forth to our city. The Crossroads Streetscapes Enhancement, this is an area that we've been getting a lot of input both from the chamber and our residents. And the idea here is to, over a long term, to see if we could build an area that have a good walkability, downtown feel to Cupertino. This area is between Stelling and De Anza Boulevard on Stevens Creek. Our general plans, I want to report to you that our general plan the draft plan has already been completed. We will be encouraging the community to give input very shortly with the idea of adopting it about mid-year this year. This is a very important project. And then another important area that we want to do is to support our local businesses. We want to educate our residents and let them know that it's very important to shop in Cupertino, that the money that they spend in Cupertino forms part of the sales tax that fund our city service that they so desired. One example that we should try to avoid is this bookstore, Stacy's Bookstore. Unfortunately, Stacy's will be moving out of Cupertino. They're closing the Cupertino stores in February. So this is very real. This is something that we need all our residents to do together to think of more. It's hard for Stacy's to compete with Barnes & Noble. It's hard for them to compete with internet sales, and hence we lose another bookstore here in Cupertino. So on our city side, we will be helping with raising our residents' awareness through our city channel and our communications to let them understand the importance of our local businesses. Another area, and these are the top sales collectors, producers in Cupertino. Another area that we want to work with is with the Sheriff Department and with the Chamber. We have a very successful Neighborhood Watch program, and we want to expand that. Talked with the Sheriff Department, and they said, you know what? There are also Business Watch programs, and many of our merchants may find that very useful. So that is an idea I'd like to propose to the Chamber, to Sheriff Department, and maybe we could get together to see how we could provide more security for our businesses. Last but not least, here we have to revitalize Valco. As you know, as we speak today, Valco is in receivership and was originally slated to be auctioned this morning as part of a court-approved settlement between the underlying property owner, Teachers Insurance and Annuity of New York, and the developer Jacobs Group of Ohio. We understand that the auction has been postponed to February 13th, 2003. Now, the city is anxiously awaiting resolution of this matter so that we can work on developing a master plan with the new developer. We anticipate that Valco will explore reformatting itself into a mixture of commercial, entertainment, home residential, and office uses. The goal this year for our council is to work with the new developer to reposition Valco and to develop a master plan that is sensitive both to the market and community needs. Next, I want to talk about public safety. Actually, I want to just mention, there was one aspect of forming community that I forgot. We didn't have a slide for it, but I do want to mention they've done a great job, and I want to acknowledge them. This is the Leadership Cupertino program under Darryl Stowe. They've really done a great job there. Many of our as evidenced by 2 members of our council graduating from that class, many members of all our commissions graduating from Leadership Cupertino. So I want to thank Darryl. But I don't know why they didn't put up a slide. Maybe there's something, maybe. But thank you very much. Next area I want to talk about is public safety. And as you saw up here, we had John Hirokawa, who has been appointed now, and as we like to call that position, the chief of the West Side. And I want to congratulate John. Where's John? Congratulations. It's an important job. So we could all bring our issues to John here now. But he is great. He's an over 20-year veteran of the force and really knows police work and his people very well. We're really happy with the Sheriff Department. They have really provided a lot of valuable service to our community. Cupertino remains a very low crime community. Crimes against persons and property crimes increased 5% over the last year, which is small, and if you count the numbers, it's very small. Neighborhood Watch program has been revitalized. We have the highest numbers of our Neighborhood Watch program ever, now with 29 Neighborhood Watch meetings just in the last year. And the best part is that 65% of the participants are new to that program. We have also a new email community alert program, which has already over 700 subscribers. And last year, the Sheriff Department was able to arrest 35 persons for burglaries in the West Valley area. We look forward to continuing our working relationship with the Sheriff Department in addressing many of the issues in our city, both in terms of security and in terms of helping our teenagers and in many ways. And the city would also like to work with the Sheriff Department to improve their bilingual language capacity among deputies and detectives. Another area in public safety I want to mention is the Cupertino Emergency Preparedness Training. We call it the CERT training. I went to their graduation just this past weekend, and they had the biggest class ever graduating with 45 residents spending 18 hours over 3 weeks to this program. Included in one of the class members was Council Member Dolly Sandoval. And they have been very successful. What they have done, I think, is something very important. They have found out from residents what are their patterns. They have made the courses still keeping the same number of hours, but they've shortened the duration. They've introduced classes in the evening, at night, and in the weekends when people can come. And when we did an informal survey of why people attended this, everybody says it was partly, in most part, because of the schedule. And with such a cross-cultural, diverse group, it was excellent just to see young to old and all ethnic groups. Another area that is important is traffic management. We've been working with our school districts and Sheriff Department extensively in this area, ongoing. especially our residents around schools that has been coming to council quite regularly, as you could imagine. We've been working with the school districts in the Safe Routes to School program, which I think is taking effect and has proved to be effective. The middle school restructuring process, we gave our input into traffic safety issues. I think our cities will continue to work with school district and the sheriff department in all areas related to traffic management, in educating the public, in traffic enforcement around schools and in different areas, and also technical improvements such as this one here at Monte Vista High School. The original school parking lots were built in the old days, as we remember, where there was actually busing back in those days. They didn't need a lot of space for cars to go in and out. And so it needs some kind of facilities improvements given this day and age, and we work with the school district and sheriff department on those. Last but not least, I want to talk about commitment to youth. We have a number of very exciting programs here, and this is the thrust of many members of our city council. Every successive city council, this has been high on our agenda, and I want to introduce these to you. The city now currently, among many of its recreation programs, we offer 366 cultural classes. 4/5 of them are for young people. In addition to our many sports activity, we have added skateboarding, championed by Sandy James in our council. And we are also adding table tennis and badminton to our city too. We have a really vibrant teen commission that is coming up with all kinds of ideas of things to do. One of the things that I want to request that you help them with is a job fair that they'll be having. The fair is really just to expose young people to different job occupations. High school students are not quite ready to take on many full-time jobs. So I encourage our businesses, our different agencies to contact our city and seek them out and help them out with this very helpful activity to let our students know what kind of work we do in real life and the variety and importance of our work. Partnerships, this is the high school, Cupertino High School. We are participating in the new field house project, and which will be able to support a tournament level table tennis program on the weekends. Next is a teen center at the sports center. This is something that our teens wanted and high on our council's list, and we're very excited about that. There'll be a physical locations for teens to hang out, for teens to socialize with each other, and do things that are very positive. This is our school resource and probation officers. I want to particularly thank Janet Shannon and Linda Rios, our school resource officer. They are really unsung heroes in our community. They do so much to help our young people, to keep them on the right track. Sometimes young people don't always make good choices, and so they bring a lot of education to them. They help them to go back on the right track, and they are absolutely an incredibly important part of our community. I want to thank them for their work. This is the De Anza College Planetarium. De Anza College Planetarium is very much used by our community. Right now, they have a proposal to renovate this very old planetarium. How much is this planetarium used? Well, each year it serves 2,500 community college students. In terms of our elementary and high school students, well, mostly elementary and middle school students, it serves 35 K-8 students, and it serves 10,000 adults. So this is a resource that's well used in our community, and it's getting old, and they want it to be renovated. So our city is going to work to support the college to renovate this important community resources. We're working with Congressman Mike Honda, and his office has agreed to take on this project in an application for matching federal grants. And so we will also be working with our sister city, Toyokawa, which had originally, that's where Minota has a big factory there, and they donated the original Sky telescope, and we will encourage them to make a donation towards a new star projector there. Tomorrow's Leaders Today is the youth component to our leadership Cupertino. It has been really done very well. Board member Barbara Nunes was the executive director there and really saw to its great development. I propose to have a stronger partnership with the high school on this project. A high school leadership project is a very important element in our community. I propose to start a new partnership with the High School Foundation. We have just sat down with Sandy Zander, and she will be bringing that back to her foundation to talk about how we can work more closely to support students in this important leadership project that we have. And last but not least, teacher home purchase assistance. I think our council brought this up in our goal-setting session just this month. The council is asking staff to investigate a teacher housing down payment assistance program. The proposed concept is a $50,000 no-interest loan for Cupertino teachers to assist with the down payment towards the purchase of a home within Cupertino area. The loans will be payable upon refinance or sale of the property and should provide much-needed assistance for Cupertino teachers who find it difficult to live in our community. The staff will be presenting a report to council this month. So to conclude, I think that our city's goal may be summarized as building community and enhancing our quality of life. I have a proposal that in these difficult times, I think that we used to do this years ago, where the city council and our school board boards and the college boards and superintendents and our city managers would sit together for a retreat, for a meeting, just to talk about common concerns and just to check notes on things that we are doing. Although we usually have a lot of interaction, I know the managers group certainly have a lot of interaction with each other. If that is a proposal that is useful to our school districts, I would encourage, and maybe what we should do is see if we have a time that we could come together this year again. This is a good time to touch base. Returning to the title of my address today, I hope to have demonstrated that Cupertino is indeed vibrant and diverse. In a highly multicultural Cupertino community, I believe there is a direct relationship between the degree of diversity and the level of vibrancy of any public and community organization. I am honored to be a part of a council and a staff that is truly committed to diversity and vibrancy. With everyone's effort, it is not surprising that Cupertino is increasingly regarded as a model city in California. Thank you very much.